Hello everyone, it is Monday the 13th of April 2026. As always on this channel we'll address the British royal family and maybe other royals from time to time. Over the few days I took off, I have, with the help and input of my family, formatted a new form to this channel. I am not going to discuss it, you will pick up on it sooner or later. So first, let's address the matter of the King addressing the nation on the Queen's real birthday on April the 21st, a birthday which would have been her 100th birthday. First and foremost, despite the wide speculation on some channels with regular clickbait titles, the King addressing the nation on that day will purely be to honour his dearest and beloved mummy. Or maybe he will have a bee in his bonnet and frog's legs for dinner and call her mama. Who knows? The entire purpose of this speech will be to bore us to tears while he drones on in his pompous voice, and secondly to mark the centenary of the Queen's birth, her legacy and service. Later, Charles and Camilla will host a reception at Buckingham Palace for representatives from charities with ties to the Queen. Oh, shame. Charles will have to put up with making conversation with some plebeians for an hour or two during this reception. Of course, this all comes mere days before Charles and Camilla's visit to America and our all-time favorite President Donald J. Trump, the man who had single-handedly brought the world to a near economic collapse and may still even do it. I want to read to you a post by Michael Keith Roberts. Please note that along with the post he also posted a map, the same one which is on your screen right now. Okay, so the post reads, "Real-time energy takeover, baby. This ain't the Straits of Hormuz. This is the Gulf of America. Hundreds of super tankers from every corner of the planet are racing to Texas and Louisiana to fill up on the sweetest, cheapest, and most American oil on earth. While the world panics over Hormuz, President Trump just made America the #1 energy superpower again. Record exports, record tankers, record winning. The globalist chokehold is broken. America is the new gas station for the planet." So, like I predicted and received immense hatred and bullying for, this is what it is and was all about. Under Donald Trump, they invaded Venezuela and stole 3 oil tankers. Then they invaded Iran. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, and other desperate countries are now flocking to America to buy stolen oil. So this is the man Charles and Camilla will be visiting. Charles, who is head of the Church of England, will show through his actions that he approves of a man who does not care about 167 little girls between the ages of 5 and 12 dying in exchange for a barrel of oil, because that is what it comes down to. Charles will be licking the boots or arse, you choose, of a man who posted an AI-generated picture of himself as Jesus Christ. The worst blasphemy of any Christian in any church, be it Catholic, Anglican, Presbyterian. It truly does not matter. Even the Muslims will not approve of anybody depicting him or herself as Muhammad, and such a person would likely be in grave danger. I had to actually go double check to see whether it was indeed true. This false prophet will be the man the head of the Church of England will be breaking bread with if Charles chooses to go ahead with a state visit. Now today we are going to have a look at British constitutional law and what it tells us about state visits. I will link the published academic paper in the comment section below. Let's go see whether Charles, as sovereign and as head of the church, has any say in the matter. The paper was written by Francesca Jackson, and I'll summarize from her paper, add my own commentary, etc., etc. But I will also post the link in the description box, and you can indeed go read the complete paper if you wish. Donald Trump recently released a string of verbal attacks on Keir Starmer. Anyone who takes any interest in what is going on in the world today will know that. Yet, it was announced recently that the visit will indeed go ahead. Certain political parties sees the state visit as yet another diplomatic coup for Donald Trump. But despite opposition from the public and a large number of clergy and politicians, it appears that the ones in charge are unwilling to budge. So who exactly is in charge of state visits? Okay, now don't laugh or snicker, just hear me out, because this is not fiction but fact, at least as it stands now. The United Kingdom's Royal Visits Committee is responsible for coordinating state visits, both incoming and outgoing. It is chaired by the Under Secretary at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. The private secretaries of the King and the Prince of Wales, Charles and William, also attend meetings alongside other members of the Cabinet Office. The Prime Minister, the Keeper of the Privy Purse, the Chief Executive of UK Trade and Investment, and the National Security Advisor are all called on to attend these meetings. The Cabinet Office is responsible for passing the recommendations of the RVC, or then the Royal Visits Committee, to the Minister who at the time is responsible for advising the King on political and global matters, which since 1970 is indeed the Prime Minister. The monarch is also constitutionally bound to accept the advice of the Prime Minister. However, none of this means that the entire cabinet is in agreement that Charles, in light of the current political climate, should go to the United States, albeit for the 250th anniversary of the US independence. Many feel, particularly those in Foreign Office, that the trip risks embarrassing Charles and Camilla. However, it appears that the RVC has decided that, and I quote, the benefits of celebrating the historic connections and the modern bilateral relationship outweigh any potential embarrassment to the monarchy. However, none of it means that the monarchy has no say. If or when the members of the RVC are undecided or there are any external issues, it will be left up to the monarch to decide. I think it would be truthful to say that the monarch is bound, or it is recommended, to follow the Prime Minister's advice. But it does not render him helpless, a piece of rubbish which can be swept from one point to the other. In 1974, for instance, the Queen was scheduled to visit Australia in March, but due to the elections producing a hung parliament, there was huge uncertainty in England, and the Queen decided not to visit Australia at the time. Now, even when reading the rest of the document, it remains uncertain whether the King himself approves or disapproves the visit to the United States. Maybe the fact that posts from the palace constantly refers to the visit dating on advice of His Majesty's government tells us that Charles does not want to take responsibility for the backlash on this visit. However, as a note from my side, I have been informed that Charles's doctors and medical team, as well as his wife Camilla, are totally against his visit to the United States. However, I'm assured that Charles refused to cancel the visit because of his health. I'm also informed that Charles threw a massive tantrum when it was suggested that William represent him during the formal celebrations of the United States independence celebrations. As Donald Trump's posts and remarks are going from bad to worse and the situation in Iran teeters on the knife's edge, I personally do not quite understand why Charles is so adamant on going. I think that it is likely to prove to all that he can still do the job. And if that is the case, then why are big channels and media leading with dramatic headings such as "Sick King to address the nation"? If he is healthy and strong enough to travel to the United States for 3 days filled with events and visits, surely it is a walk in the park to give a speech celebrating the Queen, his mother. I trust that this video provided you with some much needed information and answered your questions. I'll return in a few hours with another short piece. So please stay safe until then. Bye.